all of your forwarding and freight shipping needs. We at Trin Forwarding International are committed to product delivery. At Trin Forwarding, we have the much needed experience, professionalism, and due diligence in freight forwarding, shipping, and cargoes. We deliver with timeliness and precision. You can reach out to us at our Caribbean office in Trinidad and Tobago, telephone number 868-624-6250, or our Florida USA office at 305-887-9724.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Who is Who in America on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. We are very fortunate to have with us on today's program Dr. Aimee Sanchez-Zadek. Welcome to the show, Dr. Aimee.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate it even more to have someone like you with a busy schedule and to take time of your schedule to be with us. And to our viewers out there, Dr. Aimee has a doctorate in education and leadership and human services. She's also the president of Zadek Research and Development. She is a professor at Nova University here in Florida, the United States of America, for you viewers who are viewing worldwide.
Alhikmat Services Florida USA invites you to join our tour from Miami to Turkey, Medina, and Mecca, plus Umrah in Ramadan, from March 1st, 2024 to March 14th, 2024. It will be led by Shaikh Shafayat and the price is yet to be announced. For more information, please contact Alhikmat office at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You can also email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com.
In the name of Allah, Lord of all the worlds, there is no God but Him, the living and eternal. Allahu ya Allahu ya Allahu, His throne extends.
It's savings and big discounts when you shop at Fens nationwide. Upgrade your home or treat yourself to something special. Enjoy store-wide savings on furniture, appliances, electronics, bedroom, and so much more when you shop at Fens of Marbella, Chaguanas, Pinal, and Piaco. Visit us in-store for more information or call 650-FENS, that's 650-3367, or check us out on Facebook, Fens of Trinidad and Tobago, serving generations.
South Florida Umrah, November 23rd to December 3rd, 2023, led by Shaikh Shafayat, Imam Azhar Subidar, and Imam Zaid Sharif. 2 persons per room cost $29.95, 3 persons per room cost $28.50, and 4 persons per room are $26.96. Flights are Miami to Medina and Jeddah to Miami. Accommodations are Medina 4 nights and Mecca 4 nights. Spots are limited, so it is on a first-come, first-served basis. For details and to register, please visit www.meaningfulhajj.com/SoFloUmrah. For more information, please contact Alhikmat office at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. Juma's Glass Supplies, specialized in French doors, windows, aquariums, puttywork, and more. 45 Garth Road, Princestown. For more information, please call at 1-868-736-6204. That is 1-868-736-6204. Or message on WhatsApp at 1-868-272-2302. Again, 1-868-272-2302. Or email at jumasglass73@gmail.com. Dawah and Interfaith Institute presents for the first time in USA Dawah and Interfaith training with education in world religions from religious professors and spiritual leaders of different faiths. This is a 6-month weekend course designed for brothers and sisters local, national, and international who are seeking to learn the importance of Dawah and better understanding of faith and cultures. For more information, please contact 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You can also contact via email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com or visit our website www.alhikmat.com. Casa Nuvo Investments. Sharia Bacchus, CEO of Casa Nuvo Investments. Brokering of sales and rentals, commercial properties, industrial properties, residential properties, and land. Property management, property development, interior design, and real estate investment consultancy. Please message or text at 1-954-326-9537 or 592-643-5948. You can also email at shariabacchus3@gmail.com.
So, Dr. Aimee, tell us a little bit for the benefit of our viewers worldwide. The globe is very small nowadays, and it's getting smaller and smaller with internet, social media, etc. So people are always very interested to know, you know, our guest's background, so they can connect. They may say, well, you know, I speak the same language, my forefathers from the same country, some connection. It's all about connecting nowadays, and people love to stay connected. So tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into, you know, your career, your profession, Zadok Research Development, and what you do at Nova University. There are a lot for us to talk about, and I'm sure that our viewers worldwide will benefit in such a way that they may be able to contact you to find out how they can benefit from your services, what you have to offer, what idea, what advice you can give them, etc. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, let's see. I was born in Cuba, and I lived in Miami since I was 6 months old. So my parents came at a very young age. They were 27 years old, and they started new roots here, always hoping to, you know, return to their native land, right? Don't we all hope for that? So I grew up in Miami, and then lived there for about 30 years, and then moved to Broward County. And started my career probably in my 20s working for the airlines and their insurance department, and then went through training and development and found a passion in education. But my roots are now in Broward County. I have 2 daughters. My husband and I have been, in business. We own a small family business as well, in addition to Zadok Research and Development. And we just love being part of any community. The Miami community is amazing. The Broward County community is amazing. Davie is something that's strong and growing. So wherever we see that there's this need to be able to give back and to be part of the community, that's where we love to focus our attention.
So when you say small business, what business you all do, you and your husband?
So this is an interesting story. When I wanted to go to graduate school, it's expensive. So my husband had 2 children, and we were starting a family, and we decided to start this balloon business called Balloonatics. And that business, basically delivering balloons to, I worked in corporate, so my husband and I would deliver balloons to our friends in the office if they were having a birthday party or something like that. And then we joined the local chamber of commerce, and they connected us to corporate accounts, and that we've now been in business for 31 years. And it all started to make a couple of, a little bit of more money to pay my school, and it turned into a very lucrative business that we love and we cherish, and now it's a family business. My daughters work in it, my husband and I, my sister was working with me. So life has its plan, even though we try to plan it as and control it as much as possible.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. What was the name of it again? You said balloon what?
Balloonatics.
Balloonatics.
Yes, I was studying psychology, so the term loosely then was lunatic. So a friend of mine gave me that name, and she said, that would be a great name for you. So we did that, and we've been in business for 31 years.
So I thought you said that balloonatic, but I didn't want to say it and misrepresent or mispronounce the name. So then that was right, balloonatics. So just again for our viewers out there, help us again understand. So what you exactly do, this business exactly does. How do you?
Balloonatics?
Yeah.
So Balloonatics we do corporate events, and we have balloon towers, balloon arches. The balloons, you probably noticed, the balloon industry has really grown in the past 10 years. Whereas when we started 30 years ago, balloons weren't popular. But now you see balloons everywhere. Weddings, you see them, not only birthdays, but graduations, corporate accounts. So we focused on the corporate accounts only because we were very familiar with handling corporate clients because we came from a corporate background. So we were very much we worked in corporate our entire lives, my husband and I. So we connected very well with when people called. We knew exactly that their budget, just because it was a corporate account, it wasn't a large budget. So we learned how to work with them, and then we got so many referrals that's a huge compliment to have referrals from other companies. So we do arches, we do entryways, we put branding in balloons. And, one of the companies will call us, say, we're having this employee celebration. Can you bring in the balloons? And we're there.
I like that because that is so interesting. I didn't realize we live in a really, really balloonatics world nowadays. We live, as I was telling you before we began the show, I just came back a few days ago from a cruise on Royal Caribbean. And do you know, really and truly, they kicked off the journey with the balloons falling. The very first day, it was a big thing. Have all these thousands of balloons, and they had to just let the balloons drop. And I mean, it's amazing that you are saying this, and I'm now connecting. So a lot of people nowadays, really, it's not just a little wedding and birthday party thing. And so you guys don't even do small weddings and birthday parties. You do big corporation that do big things. But I'm glad because our viewers here, we do have, viewers worldwide, and they may just be interested having an event here in America, Miami or somewhere. They may be able to tell the people to contact you and contact you all for these kind of events. I love it. I didn't even think that it's so, it is such a progressive business. Who would want to think that?
Never in my wildest dreams, I can tell you that. I never thought it would be, this type of business, and that it would sustain, our livelihood to a point. So yes, it was wonderful. Eventually, my husband and I both left, the corporate world. Obviously, I was going into education and training, but he does this full time. So yes, absolutely, it became part of our life, and that's what we're known for.
Wow. So now I will know to definitely share that with our corporate contacts and people who are doing major events, and they're looking to do something with balloons, arches, all these different things. They write what you call the years, the celebration, all these things with balloons. Wow. So anyhow, that's fantastic. I love that. That's why I said I'm going to interact in between and find out everything I can probably find out on this show, who is who in America, because that's what it is all about, letting people know what's happening and what we do, and the career, the profession. A lot of people got so much to offer, And the world outside there really don't know. They don't know. You got to go online and you got to search.
Right.
And unfortunately, while everything is online nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
a couple of years ago, you could have gone online and just searched something and you were all okay. But now
Mm-hmm.
there are so many fake things there, so many
Mm-hmm.
fake things online that you got to be careful, because you may go,
Right.
you may get some business online. It
Mm-hmm.
may be fake. You make your payment, you lose your money. They hack your system, they get your credit card information. So you got to be so careful. And I think
Right.
it's getting into a time now. The good of internet is wonderful, easy at your fingertips, but it's
Mm-hmm.
always better to know someone recommended by someone, that you don't have to get into all these fake websites. It's sad to know you got all these fake websites.
Right.
People are
Right.
becoming genius online, and so they're doing all these fraud. But anyhow,
Right.
again, thank you very much for that. So that brings us into your husband's business and your business, which is such a successful business. Now tell us what motivated you to get a doctorate in education, leadership, and human services. I think that is such a beautiful career. I mean, when it comes to education, the world needs education. Leadership, the world lacks good leadership. Human services, the world lacks good human services. And these are
Mm-hmm.
three areas that you are blessed with, if I want to put it in that context. What
Yeah.
motivated you to get into those three areas?
Well, it started with only one, and my mother always had an amazing heart. So she really was the one who planted the seed of helping people. When she, as I mentioned earlier, that she was very young, 27, when she came from Cuba, and she moved into a neighborhood that was non-Hispanic, and it was in South Miami at the time, and she babysat 13 kids, and they
Wow.
all and she knew the language. It was broken English that she spoke, but she loved it and loved human beings. She focused on the human side of everyone. So I grew up as that, having that model constantly teaching me to be humanistic, that the key to being a good person is to give blindly. And she did that. She was an amazing person to share that with the world. So that really instilled in me wanting to be helpful and wanting to connect with all different types of people. So after we moved, I was five years old when we moved into an all Jewish neighborhood in North Miami. And so again, I learned a lot, and my mother very seamlessly connected with the Jewish population and just became friends with the Jewish population. Then that neighborhood transitioned into a Black and then later Haitian neighborhood. And my mother would babysit the children in the neighborhood, again, because a lot of their moms were working, taking two buses. So all that created a very strong model of helping people, and how would I be able to help people. And that was I developed a passion for psychology and human behavior. And what I saw, that it didn't matter what culture you were, and this is something again my mother instilled, you had suffering, you had pain, you had experience. So at the end, the core of all of us, it was, we are all the same with different experiences, but the story is the same. We feel, we hurt, we love, and we try to find our community, our tribe. So I started with that, and I started learning psychology. And psychology, it becomes interesting because it's very different than it was 30 years ago. But what I found in studying the platform of human behavior was that it was a little deeper than that. I had to walk in everybody's shoes, and that's where you start talking about human services. Psychology transitions into, okay, yes, we need to know how the foundation of the way we think it is, but in reality we also have to tap into your experience. without understanding what you've experienced. And I can only just generically try to help you. So it was never my life plan to go into education, psychology, and human services. I love the way, again, the world and, a higher power takes over and says, okay, this is what you're going to do. No different than with the balloons. It was like, this was my plan, but this is where you're going to serve. And when we take a look at it and we put it all in a nutshell, it's how do we serve each other in a compassionate way. So I was very blessed. You are absolutely right. I'm blessed that I listened to the signs that were around me, even though some of them I fought. I was like, I don't really want to do that. I don't want to do this. And then, but I'll try it. And in trying that, the road was amazing.
And that is really, really, really unique. I always tell people, if you try to understand other human beings, it will make you such a happy person. A lot of times we, in thinking negative about other people, it makes us uncomfortable. We feel insecure because we don't know the other people. But if we would try to understand other people, know other people's background, their culture, by having the knowledge, there's a famous saying that knowledge is light. That's why we affiliate knowledge with the beacon, with light. By having knowledge of other cultures, other faiths, other people, your neighbors, your co-workers, your classmates, people around, it makes you more comfortable because now you know how they think, you know their background, and you sort of fit in. But when we don't know other people, unfortunately, a lot of times people blame other people. But it's not that. It's because we don't know them. We say bad things about other people, or they're like that, but it's we need to make the effort. And if every one of us make the effort to know someone else, we will have a better understanding of the people, and we will feel much comfortable. We'll have more knowledge. We'll feel lighter. We'll feel brighter, because God has created us in this world in different languages, different nations, different tribes, different colors. So we need to understand other people. I always like to assimilate that with flowers in a garden, a flower garden. When a flower garden has different flowers and different colors, it makes it look so beautiful, so beautiful. But when you understand the different flowers and their colors and how they're formed and how they bloom, it makes you much happier. You appreciate the flower garden more. You know what I'm saying? You know which flower gives what smell. Wow. And it really brings more happiness. And similarly, we, the human beings, we are all like flowers of this garden, this earth. And the more we would understand other people, the more we will be appreciated by other people, and we will appreciate other people. So I think, again, you're very blessed to have a doctorate in human services. But anyhow, time really goes. We have already been speaking for approximately, I would think, almost 15 minutes. So we got to go.
Wow.
Yes, I wanted to stop at 12 minutes, but you know what? The topic of human beings is so important. Oh, so important. So we got to go on a short break. And when we come back, we want to continue a little bit on the leadership, your doctorate in leadership, why you took a doctorate in leadership and education, so that our viewers out there can benefit and we can benefit with your experience and your reason for wanting to have a degree in those fields which are so beneficial in the world today. So to our viewers out there, stay tuned. When we come back, we will continue this conversation with Dr. Aimee Sanchez-Zadek, who is a professor at Nova University, and we have a lot to learn from her. She has a doctorate in education, leadership, human services, and we really want to benefit from having her on the show with us today. Until then, stay tuned. When we come back, we will continue, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. Allah gives hikmat, wisdom, to whomsoever He wills. And whomsoever is given wisdom is certainly given a lot of good. Only the people of understanding will benefit from the reminder. Tune in to Alhikmat TV for khutbahs, lectures, and Islamic reminders. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
In the Quran, in chapter 5, verse 67, Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhar Rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik, wa illam taf'al, fama balagta risalatahu. Very deep. Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to spread the message of the Quran. And he told the Prophet, and if you do not spread the message, you did not fulfill the mission of the messenger. So you and I are followers of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we can afford one Quran, help us join in distributing the Quran. So if you can't afford one Quran, do it. $3. 10 Quran, $30. 100 Quran, $300. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Who is Who in America on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. Once more, it is a pleasure, it's an honor to have with us on today's show Dr. Aimee Sanchez-Zadak, who is the president of Zadak Research and Development, and she's also a professor at Nova University. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Aimee.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to
Good.
be-
So let us know now, why did you see interest in getting a doctorate in leadership? Leadership. I love that, leadership, because, you know, really the world lacks true leadership.
Right.
So tell us.
I was lucky to be trained. I worked for a company called Electronic Data Systems, which the gentleman that owned that was Ross Perot. And he had wonderful and very strong leadership styles. I remember he showed us the Maslow hierarchy of needs, and the employees were at the top. And that was fascinating to me because usually we tend not to have employees as the priority. We have the customer as the priority. And he didn't see it that way. He thought that if the employees weren't happy and if he didn't take care of the employees, then that's when it would trickle down to our customers. So that was my first look at different types of leaderships. And then that led me into learning so many leadership styles. I went to seminars that Zig Ziglar was a part of, and he was lecturing, and Jim Rohn, and at one point Tony Robbins. So I started looking at all these strong leadership styles that connected with human behavior, which is
I love that because, you know, I would always listen to Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins. I remember that. I mean, they were very on the top 30 years ago. 30 years ago, I would be listening to them, and I think they were very, very motivational in their speeches and what they had to say. And great men and women have benefited from them. So nice to hear you mention them. Yeah.
Yes, they were and still are. I still refer to their books. I use their books all the time. I refer to things depending on, you know, what kind of meeting I'm having or what kind of client I'm working with, because their values were really what led their leadership style. It wasn't there was no secret. The secret was being human and connecting to the human spirit. So they understood that. They understood, again, the concept of fear and pain and love and all that, regardless. You know, there's that saying that says it's not personal, it's just business. It's always personal. How do we separate our emotions in any business deal or in any situation? It doesn't matter. We walk in and it's very, very difficult. So, you know, I focus a lot on belief systems. And I think that as leaders, if we understand what the other person is believing, and that's a very powerful piece to the person who we're dealing with, then life becomes a little bit clearer and we can really sincerely assist. So I focus on the leadership that I truly believe in. I love it. I think it has so much to do with psychology. It is psychology. I mean, you need to understand human behavior in order to lead. So if we don't understand, we all have goals as leaders. We all have budgets that we have to meet. We understand that. But we also have to connect because we're not robots by any means. So I think that if we stop and understand when you, especially when you have large teams that you have maybe 15, 16 people in your team, and that's not that large, you have to connect with these people. If you don't connect, then that's where we start having morale problems and a disconnect in the company.
So do
And
you just to cut a little bit, do you do lectures to companies and corporations on leadership?
yes, and I also facilitate, and what that means is, let's say if they have a retreat or if they have a board meeting, I'll go in there, I'll meet with any of the leaders that are in there prior to the meeting. I go into the meeting and now I know what their goals are. And I want to focus on goals, but you would be surprised at where it actually goes. Because in facilitating, what you want to hear is everybody's voice, and every thought is not taken for granted. So we usually take that process takes about, maybe it's a 3 hour. It's really not a meeting. It becomes a workshop. That's why I said a retreat. And then we brainstorm, and we brainstorm acceptingly in a safe space. And when we wrap things up, then we realize, wow, we've got a lot farther. And the reason for that, and I think it's a great process, is listening to everyone's story. I mean, we all have a story, right?
And that's a good point, because I wanted to mention that as you're talking, so our viewers worldwide, local, national, international, can know that you do offer those services where people can contact you, and I'm
Yes.
sure they will contact, of course, what is called Zadak Research and Development if they want to get you to come and
Right.
do a lecture on leadership at their corporation, for
Mm-hmm.
their team workers, for their staff, for whoever, their organization, as the case may be. That is very beneficial. So I wanted to plug that in while you were talking before
Thank
we
you.
forget it. Before we forget it, and that's what people would be thinking as they hear you saying that. How could we get Dr. Aimee Sanchez to come and talk on leadership to our staff? And we can offer that services by having you go there. So it's really a pleasure to have you with us again. So continue. We got a couple minutes. We got
Thank
about
you.
3 minutes again on this segment. The time is just going because this is such an important issue and topic. But before you continue, while you were talking, something passed through my mind and what you said. You know, this thing of true leadership, it's like parents. If parents got
Yes.
5 children, it is important that these parents try to understand their 5 children. And each one of these children will have a different mindset. They may have a different career, different profession, different jobs. So their thinking will be different. So here now, the parents got to try to understand that child, even though they're all equal children, but you got to try to understand your child's mental mindset. And by you understanding them, that's what make you true parents. You cannot
Right.
expect all 5 children to think alike. They will never
No.
think alike. And you cannot want them to think alike. And that's how we got to deal with staff and workers and people and human beings. We got to learn to understand everybody in their capacity. And I think you mentioned that earlier on about walking in everybody else's shoes. You got to try to think how they think. And that makes you true parents, true leaders. And that's what the world is all about. So you were mentioning again what you tell some of these people at these programs on leadership. So continue.
Right. Well, you brought an excellent point, because one of the things that I bring to the table is Stephen Covey, who talks about the 7 habits of highly successful people. He also has a book about parenting with the 7 highly effective habits of parenting, and that's what he includes. I believe he had 5 children, and
Interesting.
so that's very fascinating that you have that. And I also, within SADAC Research and Development, I have this process that I call countdown. And I started countdown when I started realizing at a very young age that time is limited, right? So when we go to college, we say, oh, we have 4 years to go to college. Well, in reality, you have to count down. So let's say, let's just take a year. We have 365 days. As soon as I make a commitment to do something, I have to start counting down. So it's 364 or 63. And that becomes a way to set goals that are more concrete. Because how many times do I say, oh, I have a year? Well, a year passes by and we don't achieve anything. So with my clients, what works is when we do a countdown. So I use two processes. I use countdown and mind mapping, which is a whole different probably show on that. But when you put the countdown of, okay, you only have so many days to achieve this goal, all of a sudden it becomes very real. And they tend to focus more. And this is, again, understanding how you operate. We love procrastinating, right? So we always say, well, why do we procrastinate? Well, we procrastinate because it works for us. My students, we talk about this all the time. I tell them, why do you procrastinate? Oh, well, because I don't have time. No, because the reality is that how many of you feel that even though you finished something in a day, which you had 4 months to do, you rocked it. And then you're going, oh my God, I got an A and I only did it in 24 hours, right? So they feel like they rocked it. So why would you change that habit? Why would you change that behavior if you're succeeding despite the rules of society that you're not supposed to procrastinate? Right?
That is so interesting. That is so interesting. Well, you know what? I think we got to go on a short break. Time is, listen, as you said, time is always on a go. The year may look long, but it's as short as a month can be.
Yeah.
And as we're talking here, time is just going. We just went another 10, 12 minutes. Wow. Because it's very interesting. So we got to go on a short break again. When we come back, we want to hear a little more again on your doctorate in education. I like to take this angle so that our viewers out there, our students out there, could be motivated by you and your experience, and also wanted to get a doctorate in education, and also wanted to be another Dr. Aimee Sanchez. And that's where our talk shows benefit our viewers, so they can learn, they can benefit, they can see living examples like people of yourself who we have on our shows. So to our viewers out there, stay tuned. When we come back, we will continue this conversation with Dr. Aimee. We want to hear a little more on what motivated her to take a doctorate in education, and what she does at Nova University as a professor, what she really teaches there, and a little bit of what Zadak Research Development does. I know she's been telling us indirectly and directly, but we'll talk all about that as we conclude in the next segment. So stay tuned. When we come back, we will continue this conversation, inshallah, God willing.
Assalamu alaikum. Allah gives hikmat, wisdom, to whomsoever He wills. And whomsoever is given wisdom is certainly given a lot of good. Only the people of understanding will benefit from the reminder. Tune in to Alhikmat TV for khutbahs, lectures, and Islamic reminders. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
In the Quran, in chapter 5, verse 67, Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhar Rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik, wa illam taf'al, fama balagta risalatahu. Very deep. Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to spread the message of the Quran. And he told the Prophet, and if you do not spread the message, you did not fulfill the mission of the messenger. So you and I are followers of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we can afford one Quran, help us join in distributing the Quran. So if you can't afford one Quran, do it. $3. 10 Quran, $30. 100 Quran, $300. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Who is Who in America on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. Once more, it is a pleasure, it's a privilege, it's an honor to have with us on today's show Dr. Aimee Sanchez-Zadak. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Aimee.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Good. So I know time is against us right now. We're on the countdown. So there's so many things to ask you now in the last few minutes. There's so many things, but we're going to have to wrap it up. Tell us a little bit on what motivated you to get a doctorate in education.
Mm-hmm. I started with a master's in mental health counseling, and that's where my master's is. And again, my platform was psychology. That's what I liked.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was introduced to leadership, I realized, wait a second, I can have the best of both worlds. Wasn't part of my plan. I always wanted to get a PhD in psychology. Then I was introduced to the corporate world, fell in love with training, development, so many things a part of that were important to leadership. And leadership is not only in a corporate environment, it's everywhere. It's in your community. So that led me to look into a program at Nova Southeastern that was on leadership and human services. And I'm like, well, that's perfect, because usually you have leadership in business and leadership in something else, but not many times leadership in human services. So I started that program and I absolutely fell in love. It was exactly what I was looking for. And I was able to do both. I was able to continue in my corporate world and my corporate clients, and didn't tag the therapy part to it, because when you go into businesses, you're really not doing therapy. But I was able to have that background. So what I did was, with my mental health counseling, I became a licensed mental health counselor, and I was in private for 25 years.
Wow.
And then I was able, with my doctorates in education and leadership, I was able to start ZADAC research and development. Started little by little consulting. One of the key things that I would do is go into any environment, any corporate environment, be a part of the team, learn from the team, and then provide feedback based on what the team taught me, not what I never walked in as the expert. I walked in as the learner. And so I would learn everything they were willing to teach me. And then I would have discussions with them. Well, would this work? Will that work? Will that change work? And it was a collaboration. I believe that obviously my background in psychology was crucial to be able to do that. And at the same time, I needed to connect with them, listen to their story, and say, okay, if this change would happen, would that really work for you or for the team? And once people start talking and working with the team, and there's no fear of repercussion, beautiful things happen. I mean, the change that needs to happen, and everybody succeeds.
Tell me something. You mentioned in your bio that we are all simply humans trying to find peace in our lives. How do you get that into the lives of students? A whole different world today, as a professor teaching at the university. How do you get that into them? Because, a lot of students go out there, they don't even know what is their mission in life. Some of them are studying in university because it's just peer pressure, parents' pressure, community pressure, society pressure. And they may study one thing and want to be something else, study one thing and want to be something else, want to have a different career in life, even though they're in university. And that leads to a miserable person, not understanding life, not finding peace in themselves, not finding peace around them. So as a professor, as a doctor of education, leadership, human services, professor at Nova University, I'm just trying to compact everything in one. How do you get real understanding into the lives of these students who are the future leaders of tomorrow, that how to find peace in our lives as human beings.
Right. I love that question. I just started my new fall class yesterday,
Uh-huh.
and you have 25 scared students staring at you as soon as you walk in through the door. And my job is and that burden is on my shoulders, to have them trust me. And that I'm not going to be that professor that just is going to be giving them C's and D's. So my first introduction is, I'm here to teach you, not to grade you. And together we're going to find out what the goals are and how do I get you to remember this class instead of memorizing the exam. Because when we talk about every piece of the puzzle in teaching, it connects. So as soon as I walk in that door, my first goal is to connect with all 25 of them. So I go around the room, I listen to their story, I let them share why they're there, what they want to do, and what their goals are. And then that gives me an idea of how can I help them outside the classroom? Who can I introduce them to? My biggest passion is connecting my students to the right people to help them grow. So I've been doing that for 25 years, and I love every single moment of that. I love the fact that you mentioned that some of them don't belong in the classroom. And what I mean by that is they would be wonderful at a trade. And that's another passion of mine. I think we need to reach the parents in a different way and teach them that it's okay if your son or daughter become a plumber, electrician, a mechanic. How great that they be able to serve, again, the community and what they need. And we're lacking that. So I see a lot of students come through my classrooms that should never be in the classroom because they're not happy. They're scared. They're worried. Why? Because they don't feel like that's where they belong, and they're probably right.
And do you know what? There are a lot of money in plumbing. There are a lot of money in plumbing.
Yes.
We live in a world
Yes.
we live in a world of development. We live in a world everyone
Yes.
is building, everyone is constructing. So much money. So why would someone go into a field in a university to make money, whereas they can make more money in something else that they love? That's where the fake world
100.
comes.
Well, and we go back to balloonatics. I was
Yeah.
making more money with balloonatics than I was in my trade and going to school for many, many, many years. So, and that was funny to me, because people would say, "Oh, you're a doctor in psychology and education," and I was like, "But balloonatics is the one that's paying the bills," you know. So that was, when I started. And with the plumbing, exactly right. You hit the ground running, making at least, you can start with easily $60,000, $75,000 a year. Whereas if you graduate, you're looking at starting at 30,000, which we all know that's very difficult to sustain yourself. So I'm very passionate about not having to have that cookie cutter student that has to go to college and has to graduate and has to do this and then has to go for their master's. It really all depends. It all depends. It used to be easier. Now it's a lot. There's a lot of stress on our students. And that breaks my heart because I think that there's unneeded pressure. And we have not only pressure with social media that we learn that if we don't have enough likes, then we must not be popular or we must not be good enough. But now we also have it in the classroom. And then we have it in jobs because I started working when I was 16. Many students that graduate at the age of 25 have never held a job, ever.
Wow.
And that really affects their chances of keeping up with the world.
But I have a joke to share with you.
Yes.
And maybe you need to share it with your husband. The success of your business of balloon lunatics. We live in a world with lunatics. We live in a world of lunatics. So it's so easy to sell these lunatics balloons that just go up in the air. You like that? You can make so much money by selling balloons that go up in the air to lunatics, because it's
crazy.
It's just about what life is. I mean, it's just what people admire, what they spend money behind, what they will just do just to let society be happy. And sometimes they are not happy. Sometimes they are not happy. But every time you use the word balloonatics, I'm like, makes so much sense. I love it. You live in a world of lunatics. They will buy balloons to please other people, spend the last dollar from their pocket for their wedding and birthday ceremony, have nothing next day to pay their bills. But that's the lunatic world, only to please other people. It's called blowing money. But if you make business out of that, then let it be. But that is so good that you could let your students know that they need to live in the real world.
Yes, they do, and they need to just enjoy life and have peace of mind. As you mentioned, the ultimate goal of every human is to have peace of mind. People want to, not because they're rich and famous, but because they want peace of mind, because having money makes life easier, right?
Yeah.
So, but we don't have that goal. We don't say that. We just say we want money instead of saying I want peace of mind. And I think if we really channel that I'm just looking for peace of mind, then you'll find it.
You will find it.
To provide my students and my clients with peace of mind. It's like, I've got your back. I'm here, and together, because together is a very, very, very important piece to the puzzle. We'll figure it out. I don't have the answers. I love when students don't know where they're going and they're 20 and 21. I love it because it's like, how wonderful that you can explore instead of thinking that you want to be something, but in your heart, you don't. How great not to know. So when a student tells me I'm undecided and they feel embarrassed about that, I'm like, how beautiful is that you are undecided? That means that you're still exploring. And that's a beautiful thing.
Truly. So we have come to the end. Of the program. We just got a couple of seconds again. Tell our viewers whatever you want to say in the next 20-30 seconds so we can conclude the program. It has been a pleasure to have you. It's really a blessing to have you. I think your experience, your career, your professionalism is so great that our viewers worldwide would have definitely benefited from your experience and what you had to say on the show today. So what do you have to say in your closing remarks in 20-30 seconds?
I think the key is that we're not alone. We have each other. Just find your community, find your tribe, find your place, and people want to help. People are there for you. Never feel that you're alone, and that to me is very important.
Well, Dr. Aimee Sanchez, thank you very much. It was really a pleasure to have you on the show. And on behalf of our viewers worldwide, I'm sure they would have benefited a lot, and they can look into their career and their dreams and make sure it's not fake, and they need some advice. They can contact you because you are such a humanitarian. You are in the profession, the career, you got the doctorate in that field of education, leadership, and human services, where you can be of good counseling and good advice to people from anywhere in the world. So if anyone needs to contact you, they just got to go online and Google Dr. Aimee Sanchez Zadek, and I'm sure they will find you, and they can call you for consultation or invite you to speak to their team, their members of staff, their corporation, and most of all, if they want to set up balloons in their festivals and their celebrations, contact Balloonatics. They will have it all in one package. Well, to our viewers there, thank you very much for viewing. Again, it was a pleasure, and we say a special thanks to Dr. Aimee Sanchez. It's nice to have you viewers out there, and always stay tuned to Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. Until then, Assalamu alaikum. May the peace and blessings of God Almighty be upon each and every one of you. Bye.
Get everything you need at Fence Agri Center and Hardware Superstore, located at 243 Southern Main Road, Marabella. We carry a wide selection of hardware and agri products. Visit us in-store or call 650-3367.
Alhikmat Services Florida USA invites you to join our tour from Miami to Turkey, Medina, and Mecca, plus Umrah in Ramadan, from March 1st, 2024 to March 14th, 2024. It will be led by Shaikh Shafayat, and the prize is yet to be announced. For more information, please contact Alhikmat office at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You can also email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com. Casa Nouveau Investments. Sharia Bacchus, CEO of Casa Nouveau Investments. Brokering of sales and rentals, commercial properties, industrial properties, residential properties, and land. Property management, property development, interior design, and real estate investment consultancy. Please message or text at 1-954-326-9537 or 592-643-5948. You can also email at shariabacchus3@gmail.com. Dawah and Interfaith Institute presents for the first time in U.S.A. Dawah and Interfaith training with education in world religions from religious professors and spiritual leaders of different faiths. This is a 6-month weekend course designed for brothers and sisters local, national, and international who are seeking to learn the importance of Dawah and better understanding of faith and cultures. For more information, please contact 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You can also contact via email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com or visit our website www.alhikmat.com. Linda M. Kaplan, PA, an immigration law firm. Over 40 years of legal services in immigration and naturalization matters. Contact her at 305-670-7665. Once again, 305-670-7665, or email her at lk@lindakaplan.com or visit her website lindakaplan.com. You can also contact for more details the Alhikmat office at 954-986-0158 or 1-800-804-0267. You can also reach out to them via email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com, the website www.alhikmat.com, and visit the Alhikmat TV www.alhikmattv.com.
In the name of Allah, Lord of all the worlds, there is no God but Him, the living and eternal. Allahu ya Allahu ya Allahu. His throne.
Jama's Glass Supplies, specialized in French doors, windows, aquariums, puttywork, and more. 45 Garth Road, Princestown. For more information, please call at 1-868-736-6204. That is 1-868-736-6204. Or message on WhatsApp at 1-868-272-2302. Again, 1-868-272-2302. Or email at jamasglass73@gmail.com.